Howdy, I hope you've had a good day. Silver Trade here again with another video, and as usual, we're going to be all over the place. So if you're like me and you haven't been accepted into GameStop's Power Packs website yet, don't worry. Just the other day, they said additional beta invites will go out next week. Thank you for all the feedback as we continue to optimize Power Packs. And if you didn't know, on August 4th was Ryan Cohen's birthday. He is now 39 years old. And today, Ryan Cohen unfollowed Bitcoin Magazine. Some people are taking this as a hint that he might be buying more Bitcoin. I personally really don't see it that way. I think he only followed the Bitcoin Magazine account back in the day as a hint to shareholders that they were buying Bitcoin before it was announced. And now that they have a $500 million in Bitcoin, I believe he's unfollowing Bitcoin Magazine as another hint to shareholders that they will not be buying Bitcoin again. But who knows? And please remember, none of this is financial advice. We are not financial advisors, and this video is made for entertainment purposes only. Just a couple of days ago, XRT's short interest was at 1,300%. Yesterday, it was at about 900%, and then today, it is at 850%.
I ain't seen nothing. I ain't seen nothing. Matter of fact, I'm blind in my left eye and 43% blind in my right eye. I don't see much of nothing. Matter of fact, I can't even see you, sir.
And yesterday, somebody bought 290,000 shares of GameStop, valued at about $6.5 million, which I believe is a hedge for a block of 5,000 calls that was purchased at the exact same time. See right here, 14:43, so right before close at 2:43 p.m. And then right here, the block of calls was purchased at 14:42, so 1 minute before, or 2:42 p.m. And the 5,000 calls are at the strike price of $32, and they expire on December 17th of 2027, which is a really smart play, since implied volatility is still at 45, while the 52-week average is at about 80. And you remember a couple of weeks ago how some mystery bidder spent $250,000 on Ryan Cohen's undies, the stapler, and the busted Nintendo Switch. It turns out the person who threw down $250,000 for some undies is the famous crypto wallet FBB4. Apparently, it's some gentleman and his brother who like to remain anonymous because they're pretty good at crypto. FBB4 posted, "What an incredible honor to meet with CMN Hospitals and the team at GameStop to come together for a great cause and office supplies. The stapler and Nintendo Switch are officially secured. What room is appropriate to hang framed underwear at Ryan Cohen?" And here's the underwear that we've been waiting so long to see. GameStop is the top reply on this post, where they put a picture of a royal toilet with a computer, a phone, and the undies hung up in the bathroom. And with this guy's post history, it seems like this gentleman is a bit more into meme coins and cryptos rather than stonks. And just the other day, we got another amazing post from our favorite Region Formal. Preliminary 2025 Q2 earnings prediction. He states, "I have made earnings predictions for the last 4 quarters, and below are their results. For the last 4 quarters, he's tried predicting the earnings, and he's been pretty darn close each time." Q2 ended on Saturday, so time for another preliminary prediction based on info at hand. I want to explain some assumptions, and to do that, first off, look at this from 2017 Q2 earnings. He has highlighted new hardware sales increased 14.8%, led by continued demand for Nintendo Switch. And worldwide omnichain sales increased by 86% as the company promoted and secured leading market share of Nintendo Switch. Much has changed in the last 8 years. And despite stiffer competition nowadays, I do believe that GameStop will have received a good boost in revenue from the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo quarterly revenue more than doubles, powered by smashing Switch 2 sales. More than 6 million units of the Switch 2 were sold in the 7 weeks following its June 5th launch. And don't forget, the Nintendo Switch 2 beats PS4 and the PS5 as the fastest selling console ever. Net sales. Region Formal says, "I am predicting a figure of 901 million. This would be a huge jump from Q2 of last year. Right here, GameStop did about 800 million. So maybe about a 12% increase year over year. This also means that for the first time since the sneeze, a Q2 has more revenue than that of the previous year showing a real turning of the tide for GameStop. Cost of sales. He's predicting $647 million for this. It would mean a gross margin of 28%, which is in line with past quarters with major console launches, resulting in a blend of lower margin hardware and higher margin software sales. Selling, general, and administrative expenses. He has a figure of about $240 million for this. One of the continuous criticisms about GameStop's business has been the profitability of its core business as measured by this. Operating income, an accounting figure that measures the amount of profit realized from a business's operations after deducting operating expenses such as wages, depreciation, and cost of goods sold, or COGS. This is the revenue generated by operations without factoring in investment income. In Q1, GameStop's core business would in fact have been profitable, but for a one-off asset impairment cost related to divestment of the French and Canadian operations in that quarter. If you're curious of what that word salad meant, long story short, they bought the French and Canadian stores at a certain price, and then they decided to sell them at a small loss. And so on their earnings, it makes it look like they had a small loss. Now I'm going to assume that in Q2, asset impairments would thus be minimal. In that case, my prediction is for an operating profit of $16 million to be generated in Q2. If correct, this would actually mean the first profitable non-Q4 quarter since the sneeze. Here's a graph representing the trailing 12 months operating profit and loss. In any case, certainly it looks like the core business is getting stronger and stronger. And I believe if my prediction is close to being correct, Q2 will be a continuation of that trend. And we know for certain that a very large amount of Q2 profit will be from their investments. The quarter started with this above, an enormous cash position likely invested into short-term US Treasury bills as in previous quarters. And if you watch a lot of my videos, you'll remember us talking about this about a month ago, but we know for a fact that GameStop put about $8 billion into a JP Morgan trust fund, or JP Morgan Prime Money Market Fund. See right here, they own about 10.4% of it. And the fund's value is $85 billion. 10% of $85 billion is $8 billion, and they generate 4.76% every year on that money. 4.76% of $8 billion is about $380 million per year, or about $95 million per quarter just from interest on their cash. And really quickly, I just wanted to say thank you a million if you've made it this far in the video. Please don't go anywhere. We still have a lot more stuff to talk about, but if you wouldn't mind, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. I really appreciate you just being here. And also that on the 24th of June, more investable cash was collected through this offering when they made the $2.25 billion. However, most likely 24 days into the quarter, they used a portion of that for this purpose, to buy the 4,710 Bitcoin. Interest income. I used the then price of Bitcoin as well as the rate for short-term 3-month T-bills to calculate interest generated by this investment. And the figure came out to $76 million. I believe he's incorrect here. I think we're closer to $100 million in interest income rather than $76 million, but it's always better to be conservative when estimating stuff. As for the Bitcoin purchase, gains and losses of this are marked to market at fair value at the end of the quarter. By a mysterious coincidence, the price of Bitcoin suddenly dropped just before GameStop's usual end of quarter date, as clearly visible on this chart. Nonetheless, I still predict a gain of 23.8 million from Bitcoin. A lot of people on Reddit believe that the price of Bitcoin was purposefully manipulated for this purpose, just so GameStop's balance sheet wouldn't look too strong. But joke's on them. Region Formal's prediction is that GameStop profited $102 million for Q2. And earnings per share, total shares outstanding is likely to have changed slightly since the end of Q2. However, my prediction using the diluted figure shown above is 20 cents per share. The core business is profitable, and with this new waterfall of revenue coming in from Power Packs, GameStop has never even been close to as strong as it is right now. And when do we think that the Power Packs will exit beta? Some people are guessing that it'll come out in early Q3 rather than later in Q3. And other people think it might come out when some big new card drop comes out. This is a total guess, but Mega Evolution expansion for Pokemon cards is scheduled to launch on September 26th of 2025. But who knows? And did you know that the board member Nat Turner holds $30 million in sports cards? That's why he's the CEO of PSA. He holds $30 million in his own collection. And a lot of people wonder, like, isn't it a requirement for board members of GameStop to own GameStop shares? And you're right about that, but Nat Turner would be considered a non-employee director. So really, he's supposed to be holding $275,000 worth of GameStop. New executive officers or non-employee directors are given a period of 5 years to attain full compliance with these requirements. I think we're watching GameStop build out their marketplace infrastructure in real time, like right now. First comes adoption that's already underway with the Push Start Arcade and rollout of slabbed card sales. GameStop is building a supply and user base for their Vault Secure storage system for graded collectibles, and by offering PSA graded cards for sale, they're onboarding users and products. They are also testing out mechanisms and in parallel building the blockchain, or a partner is, that will fit their needs. Next comes peer-to-peer trading. Each PSA graded card is unique, which makes it perfect for tokenization. An NFT, don't click off, an NFT acts as a digital certification of ownership tied to a physical card stored in GameStop's vault. Trades happen on the blockchain, which is just a public ledger of transactions, and GameStop earns a fee on every transaction. They won't call the cards NFTs, but that's what they will be. PSA may create the NFT when the card is moved to their vault. Lots of different ways to do this. Only vaulted cards can be traded in the ecosystem. If someone wants to physically hold their card, they can request it to be shipped to them. Once that happens, the NFT or card is deactivated and the card is no longer tradable through the marketplace. But if you send the card back once it's received and verified, the quote-unquote NFT or Pokemon card is reactivated and it's live again. This means that you could sell the slab in the marketplace or in real life, and the NFT is always tied to the card and tracks with that card. If the new owner submits the slab to the vault, it now moves to the new owner's account. Users have multiple entry points to the ecosystem. They can send in raw cards to be graded and stored, send in the Vault PSA slabs that they already own, or they can buy vaulted cards from GameStop Marketplace. And really quickly, if you consider that if you buy regular Pokemon cards to chase for something and you actually get something that you want to grade, then all the fees that you pay on Power Packs is actually totally worth it. Remember, the cards on Power Packs are already graded, and that's over $20 in savings. Versus on Power Packs, it's $1.99 to withdraw the card and about $6 for shipping. As more cards enter the vault, the ecosystem grows. Eventually, it could provide its own real price discovery in the card market. This model directly competes with eBay. GameStop's platform can offer lower fees and verified assets in seamless digital trading. For anybody who has ever dealt with scams, returns, or sketchy buyers at eBay, that's kind of a big deal. And personally, that's why I've never used eBay before. But I've gotten scammed on Amazon as well, so. This is a potential massive revenue stream: transaction fees, grading partnerships, pack sales, digital wallet integration, etc. GameStop has the potential to build into the digital space that Ryan Cohen urged the board to do all those years ago. One that could scale fast, pulling collectors from across the hobby and position them as a serious player in both physical and the digital marketplaces. And he added one more thing at the end, which is really the whole reason that I wanted to talk about this. Something interesting. I was thinking about it. If GameStop could get a loan against the collateral cards that were valued with them, with the arbitrage between what GameStop pays and what they make, GameStop might allow users to stake their graded cards and make a bit of money off of their collection. How cool would that be? Like staking your crypto and getting a return on it, or getting a dividend from a stock that you owned. If people could stake their cards inside of GameStop's vault and then slowly get paid back in small amounts, that would be incredible for the trading card market and for GameStop. This would be less profitable for GameStop than just continuously churning over cards, but it would be a great way to onboard a ton of product quickly. And thank you so much if you've made it this far in the video. We are almost wrapped up. GameStop's utilization over the last couple of weeks has sadly been dropping, going from about 80%, yesterday it was at 66%, and then today it is at 57% utilization. And I was looking to see if I could get my hands on some of these Cardsmith's Currencies cards. Long story short, GameStop makes their own cards where you have a chance of getting one Bitcoin, one Ethereum, or like part Bitcoin or part Solana or some type of crypto. And everywhere I look, these cards are completely sold out. And a lot of the time, they're kind of just BS pictures. So GameStop's margin on these cards is probably insane. And they are completely sold out within 100 miles of me. Like, I can't find them anywhere. And the reason that it is powerpacks.com or GameStop Power Packs is because apparently somebody purchased pushstartarcade.com, and apparently to buy it, it would cost $16,900,420. So that's probably why it's Power Packs and not the Push Start Arcade. I think it's very strange of GameStop to not buy the domain for Push Start Arcade before they talked about it. I wonder how this person got a hold of the domain before them. And GameStop is competing with Best Buy, Micro Center, and Newegg. Apparently, they're selling computer parts nowadays, like CPU liquid coolers, CPUs, and whole gaming PCs. I've been looking to see if the Bed Bath & Beyond, Amazon, and GameStop flex option trade, if there will be another settlement date. And since the first settlement date expired, I don't know if there will be another settlement date. Maybe for a different flex option though, and I've been digging into that quite a lot lately. And I'll let you know if I find anything. But since the first one expired, that doesn't mean there's going to be a second one for that same flex option. Which is a bummer, but who's to say there was only one? I'm going to keep on looking, and I really appreciate all of y'all's love and support. I hope you found value in this, and God bless you.